Oh, hello. Do you want to hear a story? Well, okay then. Once upon a time, in an off sales or liquor store near you, stood a dusty, old, non-age stated whiskey. Hello and indeed, welcome to another Whiskey Review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Thank you for joining me for what is review number 108, and part of a series in which I'm looking at some non-age stated whiskies. Now, before we get into this one, let's talk proof, shall we? Proof, ABV, proof and ABV. All right, so this is a non-age stated whiskey, okay? But you will notice there's a great big number right in the middle of it. We'll get to the whiskey itself in a moment. I'm just giving this, I was going to say it's for the newcomers, but look, a little education doesn't kill anybody. So it's just, sometimes I like to throw in some little things that I've learned. So in this case, we're talking proof, and we're talking Emperial proof or British proof, whichever way you want to put it. You will see a couple of different kinds. If you are new to whiskey, in American whiskies, bourbons, etc., you will still see more so proof written on them, although you generally find the ABV will be written on there as well. American proof is twice the ABV, okay? So if you say a bourbon that is 100 proof, well then that is 50% ABV, right? So this says 105. If this were American, Jim does the sums and says this would be 52.5 ABV. But this ain't American. This is Imperial or British proof. And it is 105. And it's 60% ABV. So how does that work out, you may ask? Well, it's quite simple, actually. And literally, this is just a little thing, a little tidbit. You don't see an awful lot of British or Imperial proof coming around nowadays. So it's just to explain it whenever it does come around. If you just think of the equation 4/7, it's the easiest way to get you there. So 105, 4/7 of 105 is 60%. Quite simple. Divide 105 by 7, multiply it by 4. There. I'm starting to sound condescending now, so I'll stop. So there you go. That's just a little dive into proof in the British or Imperial, what they used to call Imperial proof. Very, very rarely used anymore. So let's move on to this whiskey, a Speyside, which is carrying a label which says Highland Single Malt. That's something else to remember. I mean, if you actually walk round the Glenfarclas Dunnage warehouse, you will see casks stamped Glenlivet. Nothing to do with the Glenlivet distillery. It's because those areas used to sort of hang on different names. So like that area covering in round the pocket up there, around the Spey, was pretty much considered a Glenlivet area. Nowadays, we know that area there, that pocket with all those distilleries in it, a Speyside. And it was sort of separated as such as a region from the Highlands, although it's in technically the Highlands. So this is why you'll still find quite a few Speyside whiskies with Highland whiskey stamped on the label. So, Glenfarclas 105, I've already said 60% proof. 60% proof. You see, I did it myself. 60% ABV. I am ably informed, although I could be wrong, but I am ably informed that it is non-chill filtered and there's no colour added. Don't sue me. It wasn't me that said it. This is an interesting non-age statement. It sure is. Now, don't batter me because I'm not going to run this whiskey down, but it will sound like I'm running it down a little at first. And there's a reason for that. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, as a whiskey novice, this whiskey is far, far, far too concentrated. In its neatest form from the bottle. Now, given time, I know for a fact, because this ain't the first, that given time, this does open up. But it needs time. It needs quite a bit of time. And I mean, if you bought a bottle of this, and this is almost aimed at you to say that you bought a bottle of this is the way you're feeling about it, please help. So I'm here to do so, because I think in this form, and even well down over the shoulder, this whiskey is far, far, far too tight, too concentrated. It's just, I'll explain as I go along. It's tight, it's spirity. It comes with quite a wallop. In the, just poured and in the glass. It's been sitting a while. It's sharp, it's tangy, it's zesty and sweet. I'm getting hints of marshmallow and even a dry red wine. There's a fruitiness of a red wine. But to me, all the time, it's overpowered by that youthful spirit. I'm also led to believe that it's no younger than 8 years old. But to me, it's just tight and spirity in its neat form like this. So I'm actually going to go into the palate. Which yet again hits you with quite a wallop. It's a kind of bittersweet arrival. I mean, there are toffee and raisin notes. It's kind of sweet again. It's tangy again. It's zesty again. But as with the nose, it's just overpowered by that hot spirit. And even into the finish, it's long and, as you can guess, hot. There's a slight bitter nuttiness. Right at the back, but generally it's just heat I'm getting with it. Now, you may think I've rushed that one. There's a reason why I rushed through it neat. It's too concentrated. So what do we do when it's too concentrated? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going in with the water, and I'm going to be quite liberal with the water because it takes it. And if you ask me, it takes it, and then it needs to be settled again. Put the water out, let it settle. I won't do so on this occasion because you would just have to watch me, or I would do a cut at it, I suppose. But you know me. Look, instantly, even without letting it settle, it's still full of body and fight, but now it releases all those incredible dried fruit notes and all the cakiness, all that fruit cakiness that we expect from a good sherried whiskey. It becomes fresher. There's more citrus, and it's in the form of, I'm going to say, orange and lemon. And the oak shows up now as well, and with it that vanilla hint of that you would tend to expect from ex-bourbon almost, but it's the oakiness is bringing this hint of vanilla into it. And probably not even so much vanilla, but more creme brulee. It's like a burnt vanilla. There's confectionery notes in there. Like, I'm going to say bonbons now. I know bonbons means something, generally means something wherever you go in the world, but we have them here. They're generally like a toffee, but wrapped in a fruit. And I'm going to say in this case it's like a lemon bonbon, but there's a powdery coating on that again, and you even get that confectionery, sweet, sugary, powdery note. And it is class. This is class when you dilute it to your own taste. I mean, honestly, I think I could have kept adding water there. I might actually at some point, I must, and I maybe will. And when I do, I'll bring the volumes down and test them and let you know the results, maybe in a live stream or something. Back to the palate. See, now it's round. All that fight of the burn is out of it, and it just coats the palate. It goes mouth-watering, bursting with flavour. Rich toffee wrapped in dark chocolate. Even more orange. Yeah. Good. Real rushes of blackcurrant. And then it goes slightly dry, but in a nice way, and peppery. It's incredible. It's like two different whiskies. To me, if you've been drinking this neat, you've been doing it a grave injustice. If you want more out of your whiskey, buy this and add water to it, because it's about twice the bottle then. There's that dry, tannic oakiness in there, and it all just runs off into a lovely, rich, memorable, peppery, but not hot finish. It's still, with quite a bit of water added to it, got the fight. By all means has got the fight, in that you know that you've drunk a whiskey. You've diluted it, but you haven't diluted it to the point where it's lost all its oomph. It's just become thin and a little flavoursome. This here doesn't lose anything by adding water. It actually, to me, just gains and just becomes a whiskey. It blossoms with water. And I can safely say, as you know, I add water to every whiskey I do my tasting notes on. I can safely say that this is the best example I've ever had of a water, or of a whiskey that needs water. Easily say it. Yeah. Cask strength, non-aged statement whiskey. Yes. Comes in around 50 to 60 pounds. Yes, it's dear enough for a non-aged stated whiskey. But to me, yes, you got to add water to this, and when you do, well, you're getting more then, obviously, because you've thinned it. So you're adding more to your glass. If you pour this much in your glass and then add water to make it up to here, obviously you're getting more for your money. That's the way I'm looking at it. Maybe it's just me being silly, but yeah, I would recommend this all day long with water. But at that price, I still think it's a good whiskey. But just please, even try it. For me, just try it. Add water. There you go. That's just beautiful. Big, bold, smashing. Right. So, you like this, you bought it, you liked it, you added water, you took my advice. Good on you. What else would I recommend? Well, I'm going to recommend this to you, Tomatin cask strength. Now, the Tomatin, this is bourbon and sherry cask matured. So they're not exactly, this is full sherry cask maturation, as with all / most Glenfarclas. Tomatin cask strength, as I said, bourbon sherry cask maturation, bottled at 57.5%, so it's slightly weaker than this. This you can drink neat. It goes down surprisingly well. Although, however, once again, I would actually recommend adding water to it. Honestly, there's not too many cask strength whiskies I wouldn't recommend adding water to, because really, in my opinion, they're only up there to be brought down to your taste. That's personal opinion again, yeah, and I know there's those that would argue with me, but I think to get the benefit of them, you should definitely, for me, try every whiskey with water just to see what it does. So yes, if you like Glenfarclas 105 and you fancy something a little different, I'm going to recommend Tomatin cask strength. This comes in at a very good price. I think it might be cheaper than the Glenfarclas. Actually, I think this is maybe around the £40 to £50 mark, if I'm correct, which, for yet again, another non-aged stated whiskey. I mean, it's dear enough, but it's still a good price for what you get. There you go. There you have it. And it never diminishes. The water doesn't, it just breaks it up. And then it keeps being a good whiskey. It doesn't ever start to fade or dip away and go, well, no, thinned out a little too much. No. It holds its body. Yeah, very much so. Lovely stuff when thinned. There you go. That's that one done. I'd just like to thank you very, very much for joining me. Thank you very, very much to my patrons. If you wish to join that group, the details are below. I'll be back the next time, my friends. Till then, here's your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.